all right, Uncle Pennybags. Look, it's easy for you to defend capitalism now, but you also have to take into account the Industrial Revolution, how it started, and not sweep the costs under the rug when you're mentioning the benefits. It wasn't a humanitarian revolution. It was good for the machines, but it wasn't as good for those human beings who were powering those machines.
Modern people look at depictions of the poor from the past and they think something must have made them poor. Must be the system they were living under. But they don't think beyond that. They think history began 10 seconds ago. Suddenly there was an industrial revolution. We don't even ask about what came before. And then we look at it compared to our existence today, and we say we're much richer today, so that must be because the government rescued us from this, not capitalism and machinery. And you can say we've had a welfare state since then. We've had the government transferring wealth from the rich to the poor. Maybe that accounts for it. But the real explosion in wealth occurred before there was a welfare state.
You can measure how much more productive people are today by how long it takes them to work to earn the money they need to buy necessities. You want to buy a loaf of bread in the 1950s? You have to work 6 minutes. You want to buy it in 2000? You have to work 3.5 minutes. That's a huge improvement. Denim. In 1900, you have to work 9 hours to get a pair of jeans. In 2000, you only have to work 3. That's 2/3 less time. Unless you're getting some fancy denim, but that's a whole separate story. These are tangible things and ways that people can see that things have gotten better and cheaper. This wasn't some government law that says jeans have to be 2/3 off. That happened because of the market and because of investment.
Here's how Friedrich Hayek, the Nobel-winning economist, explained it. He said, until you got the Industrial Revolution, everybody took for granted that of course you're going to live a squalid existence. Of course you're going to be one bad harvest away from starvation. That's the nature of the world. There's no point protesting that or holding a hunger strike over it. It can't be changed. But when you have a system that gradually does away with the worst of the poverty, the most degrading poverty, then you suddenly become impatient with those remaining pockets of poverty. And you want to protest those. And you become impatient with the only system that's ever actually eradicated it because you didn't notice it before. Capitalism makes you notice something you used to think was just an unalterable part of the world. Nobody in the year 1200 was protesting against poverty, even though they were a million times poorer than we are now. Now, of course, I'm not saying it's great. Nobody in his right mind would want to live in these conditions compared to today. But the question is, what were these conditions like compared to what they had before? And the answer to that question comes in the form of, why did they move to the factories if they didn't think the factories represented an improvement in their condition?
But this is still capitalist propaganda you're spewing in some quest to centralize money, own all 4 railroads, and the electric company, and the waterworks. You should go to jail, directly to jail, do not collect $200 or whatever the 21st century equivalent would be.
Actually, the ones spreading this propaganda are actually a lot of these textbooks, and we know where they're getting it from. It starts with Friedrich Engels, who was, of course, Marx's great collaborator. He wrote a book called The Condition of the Working Class in England, and that book has not held up, to put it mildly, very well in terms of what historians think about it. In just Chapter 7 alone, on the proletariat, you can find falsehoods that include errors of fact and transcription on pages 152, 155, 157, 159, 160, 163, 165, 166, 168, 170, 171, 172, 178, 179, 182, 185, 186, 188, 189, 191, 194, and 203.
What about 202?
202 was solid.